Hello, everyone. We got a group tonight. It's good to see everyone's faces. All right. So I'm going to start this off quick because we have a lot, I'm sure, to talk about this evening with it being daycare. We do have a guest. Wait, that way. There we go. In our middle. You guys know us. I'm Dara. We got Jennifer, Melissa, and Michelle. We are the Pet Pro Educators, and tonight we are joined by Katie Heckela from Monadnock Canine Center. She has a facility in Wilton, New Hampshire, and Katie and I go back 16 years, 17 years.
Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time.
Yep. So Katie and I have been together for a little bit for a number of reasons, and now we're kind of reconnected, rekindled, and doing some new things. But I thought with the daycare, I'm like, we might as well invite Katie in, and because she has the daycare she's done. I'll let you introduce yourself, Katie.
I'm Katie.
Hold on, first, really quick.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, go
Any
ahead.
new viewers tonight, if you are watching on one of our 9 platforms, please give Facebook and StreamYard permission, because when we see your name in the chats, we will see only Facebook users. So we'd love to see your name. And now you can go. That's it.
Okay. I'm Katie. I own Monadnock Canine Center, like Dara said. I have been doing dog daycare for close to 10 years, I think. I have been grooming for almost 20. So, and I've groomed in daycares, I've groomed in kennels. So I have a lot of experience in that area. And I have taken many dog behavior, body language, and I'm in the process of becoming a certified dog trainer.
And Katie, this is Jennifer. If you haven't met Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Katie.
Your other side is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
All right. So we had Jennifer last time. We had a commenter asking about grooming in a daycare environment.
Right.
So we decided you had asked if we could roll with that topic tonight. So here we are.
Because I also have a grooming and daycare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and I am not an expert in that in any way, shape, or form. So I will let you guys roll with that.
Well, I first, may I take a point of personal privilege and just say hello to anybody that's in the Midwest, and hope to see you all this weekend at the All American, which is the oldest grooming show in the world. It started right here in Chicago by a man named Jerry Schinberg. I'm writing an upcoming Groomer to Groomer column about the whole history of how grooming trade shows got started, the man that started them, and what his ideas were about it. But it started right here in Chicago with the All American, and it's still going on. Started in the 70s, so we're getting close to 50 years that of the trade show industry, because it was started right here. And so the All American's got a lot of cool history. It's in a wonderful, easy to get to centralized location in suburban Chicago, right near the airport, and hope to see anybody in the Midwest coming this weekend.
I think Melissa's there also, aren't you, Melissa?
Yay, Melissa.
Yeah.
I'm taking Melissa's class. I am taking your class. Both, I think like 2 or 3 people I know are also taking your class. Melissa's going to do that massage all day thing. I'm doing my 15 coat types Thursday night, 7 to 9.
All right.
Great course. So the question that came up, Katie, was with regards to the mixture of those environments and managing particularly the behavioral, because this month we've been focusing on the behavioral aspects of grooming and canine behaviors. And when you have dogs that are in daycare and then go for grooming, or vice versa, that they have it's harder to get them. This one person's question was that she's experiencing at least harder to get the dogs to calm down. Now, my shop has very separate spaces. They're on a whole different floor. One's in the basement, one's upstairs, near the twain shall meet. Mm-hmm. We generally don't have a problem, but my daughter, Amanda Jenkins, works at a daycare and shop in the city of Chicago, where the daycare dogs are running all around them while they're trying to groom. So I can imagine that would be a problem.
Yes. I've done it 3 ways. Currently they're very separate. The grooming dogs can see the lobby, which sometimes can be an issue because they see their owners come in or the other dogs coming in and out. Previously, the grooming had a window into daycare. So daycare dogs could see into grooming, grooming dogs could see into daycare, and I can completely understand how it can be a problem. It's a hard thing because the person that asked the question is absolutely right.
Yeah.
The dog on the grooming table feeds off the dogs in the daycare, or the dogs that are on the floor running around, or it's hard.
Do you think that they take the grooming into consideration at all when they come up with that business model? You know, when they come up with where the dogs are. I very briefly worked somewhere like that, and I was just like, it's just too chaotic for me.
Yeah,
I just couldn't deal with it. Yeah, but I don't really think that they actually take the groomer into consideration. Not really understanding what we have to do with that animal on the table, and then put us and that animal in a situation where other animals are running around playing,
right?
And we're requiring this animal to be still and to, pay attention to us, which is very unrealistic.
I agree.
I'm gonna go on a business point of this, though.
Yeah. Right. That's what I wanted.
Because
like a business model kind of thought process.
I think what happens, though, and I think Katie and maybe even Jennifer would think about this way, is when you go into a daycare of that size and a boarding facility of that size, you either are, if you're starting with a blank slate, you have all the opportunities in the world to be able to make it as feasibly functionable for everybody in your realm. Now, if you're going into a building, you're on a budget, you have a startup, and you are looking at an already outdone building, if that makes sense, you have to put him into what you're working with. So it might not be that they're not taking them in, they're taking it case by case. You have to go, where's the best place for the grooming shop? But where am I going to make the most money is in the daycare and the boarding. So we've got to focus on that, and then everything else falls under that.
I feel like it has a lot to do with, and hopefully I don't step on any toes, but it has a lot to do with whether the business owner has ever groomed dogs before. Because
which usually is not normal.
Not the case.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. When I first started grooming, the business owner had never groomed a dog, and the person that ran the business had no clue, and it was chaos. It was trying to keep that dog still on the table while the other dogs were running around. It's, in my mind, not an ideal situation. And honestly, with my background in the behavior and the stuff that I'm learning about as far as dog training, it's just not a good idea. I have very strong opinions about it.
Well, before we get into if it is conducive to have daycare and grooming and never the twain shall meet, I'd like to at least put forth the idea that there are several different types or ways of doing daycare in and of itself.
Yes.
Daycare itself, people have this vision about taking their boisterous dog, going into a facility, and then they run around and get all their angst out or whatever. I have a very different idea of what daycare should be. I think that dogs need structured activities. They need to be kept social but moving. Or everything needs to come down to about a 3, and everybody needs to have quiet time and have quiet. The mind of the dog will still continue to work and be stimulated, even if it's a calm environment. And really, that's the best time for them to learn new behaviors and to learn how to learn. So I think that when we're talking about daycare with grooming, we have to stress that the type of daycare that you're grooming with, it can be very different, and there's very different facets of that. We have people that have daycares that have dogs that dock dive and have a swimming pool and have all these activities. I know daycares that throw the big dogs in with the small dogs. I know daycares that separate them. And I also know daycares that keep everybody at about a 3, maybe a 5, but different groups of dogs are taken to a certain area where they can romp around, throw a frisbee, this, that, and the other, and then they're rotated out. So you just don't have this pack of chaos. I think one of the interesting social daycares that I've seen is a walk social that is done in Utah with Heather Beck. And they literally take 150 dogs and they walk them around in a circle.
Wow.
But they do, and it's a huge environment. It is one of the best ways to re-socialize a dog with other dogs.
And do they do it on a leash?
No, it's open, but it's an enclosed environment. All the dogs go through an orientation period of the 5 steps. You guys have heard me talk about the 5 steps before. They go through the orientation, so all dogs that join into the social actually know what's expected of them. So they can go, they can play, they can rest. They have kennels open if they need to get away. They have benches they can go underneath. But as long as the general motion keeps going, she's got music playing, and we just walk.
Yep.
And they use touch to control behaviors.
Yep.
So if you think about grooming in daycare, you can't really lose the idea of what kind of daycare are you talking about? Do you have people that are actually knowledgeable about the behavior of animals? Yeah. Or do you have somebody that just started up a business because they thought they could make a ton of money and just throw the dogs in a room? Right. So.
Michelle, it would be great if you would review for any new listeners those 5 steps.
Oh,
just a quickie.
Yeah. If you're interested in teaching your dog how to learn, not teaching it conditioned behaviors, sit, stay, stand, follow, heel, whatever. If you're interested in making your dog intelligent and helping the dog to learn, then the 5-step program at Canine Lifeline is probably the best one that I've ever seen. And number 1, you teach the tool. Number 2, you start movement. Number 3, you teach, some kind of a structured space, then unstructured space, and then you practice. Those are basically the steps that you take to do that. She does have a video on YouTube. It's really short, but she explains those steps to you if you're interested in going further with that. It's called Canine Lifeline 5 Steps. It's that easy. It's free. It's on YouTube if you're interested in that type of approach. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is one of the best social daycare walkers that I have ever seen in practice. The only exception being she had a guest speaker when I went out there to get my certification, and he was amazing. He does the largest outdoor socials in the world.
Michelle, would that kind of a daycare, if it were, all that you're describing, which is wonderful, would that work to have also grooming in the same space? And would there be some, would that be interruptive of those two mutual? To me, the grooming room energy needs to be more like what Melissa teaches with the calming and the massage, and we want to have them be comfortable and stress reduced on the table and all of those things. And it seems like, the daycare energy would be very distracting for dogs.
Well, I'll tell you something that I've seen also. Just to give you a little bit of background, I've been all over. Seen it, done it, worked in zoos, vets, daycare, salons, you name it, I've done it. I think it depends on the unique culture and energy of the crew that's working to whether or not that's even possible. If you have a crew that needs quiet and concentration, then absolutely the daycare should be separate. If there are grooming dogs that are in daycare, they need to actually go into a kennel space that's quiet, prior to being groomed. Or they don't go to daycare that day and then they wake up, have their meal, and then go get pottied and go directly into grooming so they can get into that mindset. However, I've seen crews that are mentally fit, robust people that thrive in a semi-chaotic environment. Like I used to groom with dogs running around on the floor. However, there are rules. There are rules to do that. So I've groomed with both. Now I prefer to have everybody put up, everybody quiet, because I guess I'm all old now, and I just need everything calm. Back in the day, I had more energy. I had more, I could deal with that type of environment. But it really does depend on the crew. Some crews are just dynamic. They can just handle it. They're type A people. They got the behavior down. They know how to handle, and they're great. And it's great to watch that kind of environment. Other places you go in, only bossa nova is playing on the radio. Something quiet and soft, and everybody's at a 3. So it depends on all the factors. You have to take in all those factors before you consider, how to divide your very specific cultures of daycare and grooming.
And I would just like to point out that I think that if you're doing daycare and grooming in the same room per se, or the same space, and the groomer is doing the grooming dogs and there's daycare dogs running around, someone else, not the groomer, needs to be supervising those daycare.
Absolutely. If you're going to do daycare, don't you dare, and I'll go out on a limb and just say it, don't you dare think that you can throw in a bunch of dogs and walk out of the room. They always have to be supervised. There always should be a kennel technician right there with training on how to break up a fight, how to choke out a big dog. All those are important. And even though that sounds super violent, learning how to choke out a dog saves lives. Absolutely. It saves lives. And anybody who does training or does daycare seriously will tell you that that is an important skill to have. We actually practice that at the Canine Lifeline compound. So
Canine
Lifeline.
Canine Lifeline. Okay, I'm trying to find it. Sorry.
Yeah, K, it's a K and a 9 and then Lifeline.
Okay.
So I have another concern about anybody that has a situation, again, like what my daughter works at in Chicago, where there are daycare dogs walking around in the same space physically, that it's not just about having staff to supervise, which I think is critical. Like you can't, the groomers cannot do what they're doing and monitor the dogs on the floor. You can't do that safely. Somebody's going to get hurt. And it could be one of the groom dogs, not just one of the daycare dogs. But my biggest concern would be sanitation issues. You're dumping maybe dirty hair or hair that's containing, fungus or, viruses or bacteria or, some contagious yeast thing or something in the hair. You never know what one dog is, going to have and be able to pass on to others. So I also really worry about the sanitation issue. And I will go out on a limb and say, I do not think that you should physically mix the space where grooming and daycares are taking place. But I agree with you, Michelle, that there, I'm sure, are people that can pull this off, but boy, would that
hopefully you go through a really good vetting process when you accept a daycare client. I mean, you want somebody that's healthy and whole and has all their vaccinations and, it has passed a behavioral test and all those things before you just throw them in the mix. So invariably, you're going to find, if you're doing due diligence in your intake, your onboarding, if you will.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Onboarding, my new word. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily screen out, like you take in a new grooming client up on the table and you're dropping his hair on the floor as you're cutting it. We don't know if that dog's got a yeast infection under its armpits or between its toes.
Well, we don't know anyway, unless we have the veterinarian diagnose it.
Right, exactly.
It could be crusty. But you know what? We've been doing this since dogs were with humans. They've slept with us. They've eaten with us. They've lived in our quarters. I think invariably that dirt itself is not a culprit to be afraid of if you have a good immune system and you build it up. Literally, I know the healthiest people work with dogs because we are exposed to so many pathogens that are just, it's unimaginable. And I feel pretty sturdy, okay?
Me too.
That particular point, though, while it is something that should be in the back of every facility manager's mind, absolutely, sanitation. You can't keep a place that houses dogs so clean that no one's going to have any fun. It should absolutely be
No.
clean. It
Right.
should smell good. But you know what? We are living beings, and what is it? 90% of us is flora and bacteria. Like, come on,
Yeah.
we can deal with it as long as your intake is good and it's got a good vet paperwork
Yeah.
that says, yeah, this dog is free of any illnesses, it's free to go. Then I think you're good to go.
I think that I kind of liken it to the one small experience that I had was open grooming, open daycare. Daycare dogs are running around while the groomers are grooming. They're in the grooming area. And I just thought it was, to me, it was just ridiculous on a safety level, on a sanitation level, on the simple fact that it's like putting little kids in a hair salon and just letting them run loose through there. You've got wires and cords and sharp instruments, and you're grooming, and now you have dogs trying to jump up on the table and smell the dog that you're grooming, or want your attention while you're trying to maintain your attention onto. So I think that those types of business models, I think, need to have some sort of revision, because I think it's just too much all at one time. If it's an open grooming area and an open daycare area, but the two are separated even by, like, I've been in so many different salons with the consulting stuff that I do, and so it's like a lot of them will just have like those picket fences, or something that divides the room so that those dogs in daycare are not on top of the dogs and the groomers, which at least it alleviates the general safety of those animals being directly underfoot.
Yes.
And I will tell you what my breaking point was. I literally worked there for 1 week. My breaking point was the male dogs were lifting their legs, and you'd be grooming and they'd come over and pee on you. And so the owner told everybody to wear those plastic booty things that come up to, like, it's for, like, if you're like a cow farmer,
So I'm going to throw that out there, that I believe that this owner did not have an appropriate program to offer people for daycare. Because that's unacceptable. Daycare should be controlled and chaos, not just chaos.
Yes.
And you have to structure their activities. It's not a free for all.
No, Groomer Jen is saying that she previously worked somewhere and without any supervision and sanitation, and lice was a huge concern and problem.
So that has more to do with their intake and their vetting process before. If you have a small child and you want to take them to daycare, how much paperwork do you think a new mama has to fill out to get her human child into a daycare? It is incredible. It should be just like that for any new dog that comes into, because you're inviting them into a house of dogs who are vulnerable to doggy behaviors, doggy diseases, and things like that. So you absolutely.
And lice are highly contagious.
Lice are disgusting. Lice are basically, even in a vet hospital where I worked, lice was the only thing that I would not treat in the grooming room. They had to treat it in the back kennels where they had a drain in the floor, and everybody gloved up, and kennel techs did that. I'm like, I'm not putting up with that. Lice are no joke. You're not even bringing them in my room. But that should absolutely be part of the intake process. And if it means that the groomer itself goes out, or somebody is trained to do it and lift up that hair with a comb, with a glove on, and to make sure there's nothing under there that needs to be addressed before the dog can go back into daycare, then that's what it has to be. So,
Katie, what do you guys do as an intake process for your daycare dogs?
Well, that's a good question.
How specific do you want me to get?
Very. Get specific.
The first question we ask is about vaccines. The second question we ask is, has your dog ever been socialized with other dogs? After that, we go into, I just rewrote all of this for my staff too. I should remember. We do, we call it an evaluation. They have to come in. They get touched by us first to make sure that they're handleable. We do like a nose to tail check before they leave the lobby to start with, to go back into daycare or into the grooming salon. It doesn't matter. And then the evaluation process basically consists of, we take them either into the large daycare room or outside by themselves, and then we introduce them to dogs we know are stable, one at a time, see how that goes, and then slowly introduce the rest of the dogs out and see how that goes. And basically my staff is trained to watch the behavior and the body language, and if it goes well, we accept them for daycare. They are on a trial basis for the first 30 days. So they're watched for 30 days. Well, they're watched anyway, but they're watched a little closer for 30 days, just to make sure that there isn't anything going to kind of pop up, for lack of a better term, because I had that happen quite a few times. And we're pretty strict about acceptable behavior and unacceptable behavior, and I'm not afraid to send a dog home and tell them they're not a right fit for our facility. So
do you have a minimum age that they have to be 6 months, they have to be 9 months, they have to be potty trained, they have to be
controversial as this is, I do not. They have to have their second distemper shot, because I feel like they need to be socialized before they're
early. Yeah, I like to. So I do take puppies younger, but for very much shorter stints, because you want them to get exposed to it early on. And certainly, we have a puppy training program for our grooming program, our VIP program. Very important puppy. 4 visits for $100, which is a bargain. Between the ages of 8 and 16 weeks, where we bring them in for a 15-minute visit, and then a 30-minute visit, and then a hour-long visit, then an hour-and-a-half long visit. And we gradually introduce them to all of the different sights, sounds, smells, and experiences of grooming. But that's for grooming. Daycare, it's interesting. I have a wonderful daycare director, Claudia. One of her requirements is that the dog can respond to its name. Like, wouldn't we think that all dogs could do that? But apparently not.
No, they cannot.
So that is actually one of her tests, is calling the dog to her or getting the dog's attention by name. If the dog can't do that, then they can't come into our daycare. I
am working on starting a puppy-specific daycare group, for lack of a better term, to teach puppies socialization, proper play techniques, and just get them socialized, because I've just had far too many that come in at a year old that have no clue how to be a dog, basically. So, and there's nothing really in our area like that. So I'm trying to work on that and add that to my puppy grooming. Put it all together.
I'm gonna ask you, Katie, because when I was there, you had a little, I think it was one of the Bichons that mom decided later in life wanted her dog to start going to daycare. And you had said he was
never been away from mom before.
And Katie goes, this dog's not coming back. So what happened? Because he had another day chance.
He had 2 more at that point.
Days? Okay.
And he's actually improved quite a bit. He still has some issues, but we're teaching him. The girl that I have in with that group of dogs is amazing. She leaves him alone for 5 minutes. If he's quiet, she goes back in, basically training him how to not be. You can't really train out separation anxiety, but you can teach them to be alone for a period of time. And that's what she's working on with him. And we've been talking to mom about it, and she's working on it at home as well. So hopefully he's actually really good with the other dogs. He plays really well. He just, when the human leaves the room for any reason, he just yells his fool head off, which drives us all crazy. But Sarah's working on it with him, and he's showed dramatic improvement. So we're going to keep him for a while longer and see if it gets better. So he can go about half a day without yelling, which is much better than he was. So I'm willing to give him a chance.
When we
Tara, that's not your.
You know me and barkers.
But But when I'm really glad I didn't go into my business thinking that I was going to open a daycare. What happened is that our next door neighbor moved, and we got a different tenant in the shopping center that I'm in. And so our grooming area, we had the opportunity to pick up this warehouse basement of this, what used to be a liquor store that was next to us. And it's huge, 1,500 square feet. And they basically gave it to us for a very, very small increase in the rent. So all we had to do is put a hole through the basement doors, and we actually had this lower level, because I had this small break room area and office down in our basement. We just put in a doorway between the two basements, and we had ourselves a 1,500 square foot warehouse basement, which has been fantastic. It's very separate from the grooming room. It works great. The dogs love the daycare. Like, that's been the biggest surprise to me. The groom dogs, they'll come in and they're ready for their day, and they're always very sweet and really good. But the daycare dogs are so happy to be there. They're pulling at their leashes. They can't wait to get downstairs. They love it, love it, love it. Yep. They really enjoy it. The ones that come regularly are just this, they're happy, and the owners are happy because they come home very happy and very tired. But if we're going to groom them, we have a very specific regimen. They're daycare in the morning, and then they, just like Michelle said, they go into a kennel space for about 20-30 minutes upstairs in the grooming crating area, and then they get bathed and dried and then groomed. And once they're upstairs for grooming, they don't go back downstairs.
Yeah, they need that decompression, I think. They need to just
Groomer Jen asked, how many new dogs are on trial at one time, and what's the difference with having one new dog attend one day with something happened.
With established dogs versus 15 new dogs in a day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we don't do 15 new dogs. We do one.
I'm thinking that you would schedule them in so that you can just pay attention to them.
Our evaluations are done strictly by appointment. We don't do more than one evaluation a day. And I don't take more than three, brand new to daycare dogs. If they came from another daycare and are just moving over, then I'll take them, but I won't take more than 3 brand new dogs in a day. And I like to split it. We split our groups by size and temperament. So I like to try to make sure that there's not more than 1 new dog in a group, because that's a lot for.
That sounds super healthy. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa, with your massage techniques that you're going to be talking about at the All-American this week, I can't wait to take your class. And you use massage as part of the grooming, just for calming and control and management of the groom. Do you think that, are there any techniques that you think would work to help to calm a dog in the transition from a daycare to the grooming?
Oh, definitely. Some of the tapping techniques will work wonderful. Just right down along the spine. You
mean tapping like
yeah.
Yeah.
MTT. Yeah. So that's one of the ones that I would recommend, as well as any of the acupressure points. You can hit some of those acupressure points that can instantly bring a dog out of whatever it's focused on, like honed in on. And so if you hit those particular spots, they'll kind of dislodge their brain from, because dogs kind of have like OCD, where they get into repetitive behaviors. And so we know hyper-focused, right? So we know that with MTT and with the acupressure points, or what I call for groomers, I call it compassionate touch points, where they're just areas on the body that you can kind of snap them out of that behavior. Or what happens is that the body responds, even though the mind may be focused on something else, the body starts to respond before the brain even kind of kicks in. And then the brain's kind of like, oh, wait a minute, that kind of feels nice, or, and then they kind of come along after the fact. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, there are quite a few different techniques that you can utilize to do that. in a daycare setting or in a on a grooming table or in a tub or
in a bathtub. Yeah.
right, and anything like that. I used to utilize them when they would come in and I was doing my intake, and I'm just
Comes
trying
the cat.
Comes
the cat.
So yeah, you can totally use touch points or acupoints, MTT, the tapping techniques. There's even rocking techniques that you can use. There are things like swaddling, which is what Juju here in my lap that's what she wants right now, because I have been on the computer all day and she loves to be swaddled. And so it's a way for them to get some calm and to settle their brain as well. Because daycare, they're up, they're at a level where they want to play and jump and but they're also on alert that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
They're inundated with everything, not just sights and sounds, but all the smells, because dogs use pheromones as well. And so, they're in a constant state of evaluation of what's this dog going to do? What's this human going to do? What's this, here comes this new dog. And if you ever watch daycare or if you ever watch groups of dogs, which I live with a group of dogs, so I can tell just from body language who can't handle whatever is going on.
Yep.
Just even playtimes.
Yep.
Can get quickly out of hand. And I have mostly littles, but it can get nasty if somebody does not want that level of attention, does not want that level of play. And so by stepping in and either, with the littles, I can scoop them up and swaddle them and hold them, or I can just lean down and get one of them and do some tapping and remove them or redirect them. So yeah, touch is a huge part of cues that animals actually respond really well to.
And Katie, and well, actually, all of you, Katie, Melissa, Michelle, do you guys? Groomer Jen is also asking about pheromone diffusers.
Pheromone.
Pheromone.
Pheromone. Yeah.
That's what I think she meant. Pheromone diffusers, and she wanted to know if you had any thoughts on pheromone sprays, collars, or diffusers.
I like the sprays and the diffusers, especially in the puppy room. It really is conducive to those puppies feeling calm enough to go out and be social. And some older dogs do appreciate it as well. I like the diffusers because they're easy to use. They're constant, so that pheromone is in the air when they come in. It's soaked in the room, so it just feels better in there. It's got better smells in it. You want to try to keep everybody from being hysterical. And that's why I made my comment at the beginning of the show. If you can have structured activities and then keep everybody down from level 9, it doesn't. They should never be showing the whites of their eyes and slobbering out their mouth. Those are for trials and dock diving and all those things. It's not for proper daycare. And I think that people do have this misconception. Oh, he goes to daycare and they throw a ball until he just can't stand anymore. That's heartbreaking. Literally, that is too much. So many breeds, so many dogs will play until they fall, and that is irresponsible. So it should be, hey, playing with the ball. Okay, everybody, calm down. On your nappy mats. So you really have to pay attention to that. But I love the sprays and the diffusers. I don't really believe in a collar where they carry it around, because then that becomes indicative to their scent.
Yes.
Why would that calm them down? Because it's on them. It's the external things that they're worried about, not what's on them.
And we play naked, so we don't do collars in daycare, so that wouldn't work. I find that the pheromone diffusers work amazing in the grooming salon, not as much in daycare, because there's so many other, like Michelle said, though, in the puppies, yes, it's amazing because they still kind of have that memory of that from their mothers. But in adult daycare, I feel like it's it's not enough. Like, there's so many other smells and other things that they're doing and other things getting in the way of it that I don't think they even notice it a lot of the times, just because they're busy.
And if you don't have Kennel Tech T-shirts that say "We Play Naked," I don't know how I can even talk to you anymore. That is probably the best thing I've heard all day.
Yeah.
We play naked.
I
We
thought
play naked.
that needs to be on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
It really does. With your logo on the back of it. That's amazing.
You'll never have to
I'm saying
advertise
it right
anything
now.
else.
Please tell me that there's an
Right
order
now.
in right
You-
this second to get that.
Exactly.
There will
You
be.
need to send us all one because I will wear that for sure.
Yeah, if you sell them, if you make them available, people will buy them. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, so, but I'm curious about that because my daycare director requires them to be in a collar or halter, something she can grab a hold of if she needs to. How do you manage that without collars or something on them?
We use body blocking. We use slip leads, and if all else fails, we scruff them. That's like that's a lot. That there has to be a lot going on for that to happen. But for the most part, if you can body block, and if you have, being that I have a brand new staff member right now, this is a bit of an issue. There have been a few dogs that I wish had a collar on, and I will put a drag leash on a dog if I need to. But for at another daycare that I worked at, we had a really horrible experience with a collar, and one dog getting its mouth caught in the other dog's collar.
So it's a safety thing.
It's a safety thing,
Yeah.
100%. Being able to grab a collar is great. I feel body blocking works better because dogs work with body language and your posture and everything else. I think works a lot better. And if, like you said, you have if the dog can't come to their name, she won't take them. If I or my experienced staff members can't catch a dog, that dog isn't in my daycare anymore.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
We have to chase them around, which is the funnest game in the world to a dog.
Yes.
They're not a right fit. And there's plenty of daycares out there, and there's plenty of dogs out there. So I don't worry about. We just tell them, I'm sorry, you're not a right fit.
And that's a safety issue. I would gladly go to another daycare personally if somebody said, you know what, I think your dogs need X and we only have Y. I would be like, understandable. Thank you for telling me that, rather than doing a disservice to me and my animals by trying to serve me. Yeah. So.
And I wish more pet parents felt that way, but a lot of times.
Well, just line them up, and I'll smack them. Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that T-shirt though. I'm
writing it down because
Play naked.
Tell Katie she's got to come to Dallas, so I might have to do a Dallas day with them.
No, our T-shirts right now say I'm a puppy loving, pack leading, poop scooping ninja on the back.
Oh, not good enough. That's not good enough.
I'll add play naked.
Play naked.
It must say we play
That is
naked.
your tagline. I mean,
Totally, we play naked. Well, that you
that
know.
is-
We're gonna get that order to be in by the end of the week. Okay.
You can change your name from the Monadnock Canine Center to the Naked Canine Center.
That's right.
Yeah.
Katie, you didn't know this was branding 101 also.
Okay,
So
I'll take it.
you and I can discuss fees later. No.
Okay,
Absolutely.
you can take it out of my paycheck.
All right.
No, it's really good. It's good. Well, I think that, there are probably a lot more grooming businesses across the fruited plain that do have daycare, because more and more businesses. Oh, we have a Facebook user that wants one of your shirts, by the way. Already you have orders, Katie. But I think that this, as the pet industry is becoming more professionalized, and Dara, is one of the gurus of all this, about, making us better businesses.
Right. Yeah.
I have to tell you that for expenditure versus income, my daycare is more profitable pound for pound than my grooming area is. Yeah. and it's good. It's a good business. And if you have the physical place to do it, it's a fine addition. But I couldn't agree more. There needs to be dedicated staff.
Absolutely.
You can't have the groomers, in charge of the.
They can't do both.
Yeah.
And even if they think they can, because way back in the very beginning of my daycare, I thought I could, and you can't.
Yeah.
Personal experience.
If you have to focus on a dog on the table, your eye should not be anywhere else.
Exactly. You shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I just have one thing to add about the pheromones.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that those pheromone diffusers are great, but also understand that the animal emits a pheromone that is usually attached to an emotional response, which, like fear or excitement or, so when you have that many animals in one space that are all experiencing this one particular, moment in time, their pheromones are changing, on a consistent basis. So that's why just running that one in a room like that is not going to really make that much of a difference in that kind of atmosphere. If they're in the grooming area where it's a whole different energy vibe, that works really well to help mask or to help kind of trick their brain into getting out of that fear mode and into more of a relaxed, it's okay, it doesn't smell like fear here, and so it kind of masks that. So that's why with puppies, like you said, Katie, that works so much better because they are still in that I'm trying to learn, I don't know what any of this stuff is, and that is still a registerable scent to their brain, basically. So but when they're older and they're used to going to daycare and or they might be new to that particular daycare, they're going through a range of emotions and running the gamut from, am I afraid? Am I standoffish? Am I friendly? Am I, all these different things. So that's why those pheromones don't particularly work in that one particular setting.
Yeah.
Well said. Very well said. Thank you.
Debbie.
That's my shtick. That's my thing is aromatherapy, and pheromones are, that is a thing that they emit and breathe, and that gives them a way to understand each other.
So Debbie says that is thanking us for the great information and can't wait to take your class, Melissa, in Chicago, which is awesome. Debbie, I will see you there. Groomer Jen says that she just checked the USPTO patent trade office. We Play Naked is not trademarked.
Look at that.
So grab it.
There you go. Go get it.
I'll take a small flat fee for the.
That's what I said. I was trying to negotiate your fees there. So really quick, we got about 10 minutes or so, and then we have some other announcements to make later on. But I just want to go back because we've talked a lot about all of these ways and different ways. Now, what are some ways that people can help their situation, or depending on some of these ways we've talked about, what can they do is to offset some of the 9 and bring it down to the 5 and 3 levels?
What resources, basically? Yeah, what resources do we have as daycare owners or operators to go and maybe change some of the culture that we have if it's not working? No dog should be slobbery and have the whites of their eyes showing at the end of their daycare day. Just little things like that. Where do we go to find more resources, more information on how to maybe change the culture in a daycare environment?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how can the grooming shop do that themselves if they don't have an active owner that is willing to help them do this too? I'm wondering if that's why we had the question come through, is because there's a we do have a lot of groomers, like you said, that are working in these situations but have unattentive owners.
I think to start with, maybe if they can put up an X pen around their grooming table, that might help. But I think it really has a lot.
I was going to say, create a barrier.
Yep, create a barrier between the grooming and the daycare. If you can put an X pen around your grooming table, move yourself into a corner, use 2 walls as part of that barrier, and just put the X pen.
Yeah, I would challenge everybody that grooms in a daycare that it seems to be overlapping. Take up the fight, take up the flag and say, okay, let's make a list of what is required for daycare and what is required for grooming. Do a pro and con here and see where they intersect, see where that Venn diagram happens. And then see, okay, we can have this and that can touch daycare and grooming, but there's this whole other facet out here that these 2 distinct services need. So I think that if you have that on paper and you discuss that with your manager or owner or operator of the daycare and grooming, that will give you at least something to go on. But if you're just saying this isn't working, that's not giving any, you're not offering any solutions. You're just saying, I don't like it. So if you make the effort to make those lists.
I think if you offer also, obviously everyone that is involved with the daycare has said that it is a very profitable portion of the business. So if you approach the owner or the manager or whomever is running the business that you would be able to speak with, give them the viewpoint that it is affecting your productivity. So if you are able to have a separate, area or a barrier that keeps the dogs from slowing down the grooming process and creating issues that you have to stop and deal with, because, in a normal grooming situation, you wouldn't have dogs, caught up in your clipper cords or knocking trash cans over or whatever.
Peeing on you while you're
peeing on you, or pooping on your mat, and now you got to clean up that, or all that stuff. So it comes down to also affecting your productivity, which is the bottom line. There is the amount of money that's coming in. So even if by doing that, if that allows you an additional half hour to your day, that could be 2 small dog baths, 2 Chihuahua baths.
The trick is to find out what is the sweet spot of the person in charge.
Absolutely.
Do they care about profits and production? Do they care about quality services? What is it? What is their sweet spot that they care about? And you want to tailor your argument. Tailor it around what it is that they think is the most important. If they think that production is important, say, you know what, I could do 2 more dogs if I didn't have to wade through 50 dogs to get back and forth to the tub and to my table. My production would increase, and so would everybody else's. So that's one way. If they're like quality service, I'm like, how can I give a quality groom and be focused without all this chaos over here? So, I mean, you can absolutely tailor your argument to the situation depending on what situation that you're in and what type of grooming.
Great advice, Michelle. Great advice. And just so you know, Katie, I just did you a huge favor. Just because I didn't want anybody to steal it while we were talking, across the country. So I just bought you WePlayNaked.com.
Thank you.
I just went on. My husband and I have a plethora of names and websites and stuff. We have a GoDaddy special account. So I just snatched that up for you.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Too funny.
That is
all right.
That is a great tagline, though.
That really is. Didn't know you were coming on for some of that, huh?
So Katie, contact me and we'll figure out how to transfer it to you.
So anybody who is in business now who is desiring to add daycare to their grooming environment or add grooming to their daycare environment, this is so important to really think about the needs of each service. Even sometimes within grooming, there are special cases that need a special service. If you're doing fear recovery, you need a quiet area. probably away from the grooming room. So, I mean, it just depends on who you're going to serve. Who is your demographic? Who is your client? And once you figure that out, then you can make your new daycare or your grooming area fitted without damaging the services on the other side.
Right.
So that's something you really have to think about.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yep.
Very good. Our chat room has been very quiet tonight. See, we're having
That's because they're all visualizing naked play. They're all
they are, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Dogs are best when they're naked. I'm sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
I agree. My girls never have anything on.
No.
Absolutely, Groomer Jen. Anything done should be done well, because literally it's not the destination, it's in the doing, it's in the journey. You know, it is absolutely, because right now we're living this moment right now. So let's live our best moment from moment to moment, and then we'll be more like dogs.
And we should.
I love that. I love that. So good. It's why I keep coming back every week. I always get inspired by you guys. It's awesome.
We do. We like lift each other, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So, Melissa, what you got cooking over there?
Oh, I've got quite a bit going on. I
Did we
said
lose
that
her?
I'm going to definitely be in Dallas at the Pet Pro Classic. So
We're all going to be together.
We'll all be together. So
in one place at one time. I'm so excited.
Yay!
So that will be fun. I will be there for that. I also today told Dara that I am ready to rock and roll, so we can start open enrollment for the Holistic Master Feline Stylist course.
Yay!
And the pet massage therapy course and the Master Pet Aromatherapist course as well. So those are all going to be virtual classes, and it will be a virtual classroom just like this, where I'm going to be right there doing the lesson with you. It's not like I mean, I can do a screen share, that kind of stuff, but it won't be a fully recorded class. It'll be a live class where we interact with each other once a week, and then we go over assignments and all that. And so people can join at any time, because I'll be dealing individually with everyone. And I am super excited to get this started and to get it out there, and to just share my knowledge and you know, my thing is just a whole different vibe on how to handle and groom felines, and putting that touch therapy into practice, as well as understanding aromatherapy for animals as well.
And they're so, that's their dominant scent is scent is their dominant sense, whereas we humans, our dominant sense is our vision.
Visual, right?
And dogs are not that. All of their senses that they have the same sense as we do, but their dominant scent is noses. And that's why, I don't have any problem with a dog coming up and sticking his nose on me when he first meets me, because that's how he's saying, oh,
that's how they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's so important. And, whereas aromatherapy might not even be as big a deal for people, it absolutely makes sense for dogs.
Yeah, we use it every day.
Yeah.
We have diffusers.
It's an important thing. They're blind and deaf. So that is really, truly their very first sense is touch and smell.
No, yeah. And they're totally different than we are. I love Groomer Jen says she hums the strip tease music. Ba, 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 da, dum, ba, ba, bum, da, dum,
I love it.
When I remove the harnesses and collars and twirl them in the air.
Yeah, see?
No one thinks it's funny, especially my daughter. I think it's hysterical.
They need to get a sense of humor. I wish you could buy one at the Walgreens, because I'm telling you what, every single time you did that around me, I would collapse, because that is hilarious. And I always make sure to tell the dogs how sexy they are as they're walking out the door.
And Groomer Jen, if you want to, I'd love to see a video.
I know.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then Katie, you're gonna have to hire her to work
Please,
with you where you
please.
play
Right.
naked.
Yes.
Oh my God! We already have your first commercial. Dun, 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 dun. See? Hey, you've got a fan.
That's it.
Come on.
Jen's gonna do
all
a
right, she's
video
got one
tomorrow. Okay.
Post it
Well,
on the
if
Pet Pro
that wasn't
Educators
a
group, Jen.
if that's not a happy way to end an hour, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
awesome.
I know. Well, Katie's got some news also.
Katie does have
Katie
some
and
news.
I-
It's kind of Dara's news too, though.
But
Okay.
you can share it. I'm happy to let you share.
My facility in Wilton, New Hampshire is officially a satellite for the grooming school, and I will be teaching groomers again.
Oh.
Yes, for the whole next year. I'm so excited.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Katie was with me when I started the school and
Yep.
went through a lot of ups
Yeah,
and
there was a
downs
Yeah.
lot.
with me,
There was a lot.
and she's
Yeah.
a phenomenal instructor. She's
Wow.
so good.
Congratulations.
I knew at
Location
some
deux.
point-
Yes.
Yes, we were
Yes.
going to come back
Yep.
full circle and do
Yeah.
this. I
Awesome.
didn't know it was going to be in this way, but hey,
Hey,
that's
Here we are.
happens. So,
what happens
yep.
when I go out and buy a facility?
Well, congratulations.
And
That's
she
wonderful.
calls
Thank
and
you.
goes, "Come see my grooming space." And I said, "Oh, you need some tables? Here's some tables.
Yeah.
Here's some stuff. Oh, what else do you need? Oh, you need a tub? I got an extra one of those too." So we just,
Yeah, I'm excited.
well, so
wonderful.
that's going to be coming out.
Yep.
Melissa,
right, well.
Melissa, is that a Tibetan Spaniel puppy?
She's a Shih Tzu.
A Shih Tzu. Oh, she's just different.
She is called a Paropso.
Oh, it's that different coat type. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So she has a non-fuzzy face and a different coat type, but her mom and dad are both Shih Tzus. She was a puppy
She's
back.
cute.
Wow.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
My little Mushu,
She's
named after
adorable.
the dragon in Mulan.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Fire
cute.
red.
Very cute.
She's a good
So
girl.
the Facebook user Katie, that I'm pretty sure that's Lori.
Okay.
Saying, welcome to the team.
Oh,
Again.
Thank you.
That is awesome. I'm super
Next
excited. Everybody,
week.
this year is going to be amazing. This new
Yep.
year that's coming up is really I mean,
2022. We hopefully get our lives back.
yeah.
That'd be nice.
And totally not even grooming
My
related, but you
internet's
guys have been
wonky.
following my saga for however many 7 years now. My husband has completed and passed his competency and aced all his final exams. He's headed to internship
Yay!
on September 1st, and I am the proud owner of a husband with a master's degree.
Oh, bless him.
Which he could not have done without you,
Yay.
Michelle.
Yes.
So
Oh my
proud.
God, you are the
That's
best
and he's
wife
home,
in the
right?
whole world.
7
are.
solid years,
Dawn's
dude.
home?
7 straight
Yeah.
through. Bam, do it. Yes, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
But he was suddenly blind in his adulthood, and you had to literally teach him every step of the way to get how to get where he's going and do what he's doing. And you were by his side supporting him every step of the way. You are amazing. You are a super wife.
Well,
Super
that's
wife.
what a wife should be.
Yes.
That is what you should do for your
That
partner.
is what a wife should be. I
Um,
agree with you.
Yes.
And that's what a husband should be too. And I'm sure he would have done the same for you. It's
He
just
came
really
home
neat.
yesterday and woke up this morning and started making a list of all the things in the house that I couldn't do when he was gone. And I've already got my walk-in closet light fixture fixed. He's looking at my toilet. He's just on it. He's on
Wow.
it. And he's amazing. And I'm so lucky.
He's amazing.
So great. You guys are inspirational. That's an inspiring 7-year journey.
Yes.
So now I get to work on all the stuff I've been putting on hold.
Which includes, I hope, the aesthetics add-on.
It does. Yes, it's all of that.
The aesthetics add-on to the 15 coat types poster. I
Yes.
want that to happen. It's going to be awesome.
Yep. I had to get with you about those too, Jennifer.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Forgetting.
Yes.
All right. I got my list. I'm back on it. So
I'll
hey,
bring them
did
to
anybody
Dallas.
Get your nominations?
Yeah.
The Barkley nominations came out.
Yeah.
I didn't see him.
It should have been in your email. I think
Yeah, they should have emailed it to you, Michelle.
Mm.
I
don't
think
know
mine
if I
came
got
in
it
today.
either.
That would mean I actually have to look at my email.
Okay, well, do that because, ladies, I think we could be a really good addition to that list of best.
Well, I
Nice
voted for us, so
Wait, are we nominated?
No,
I don't
this is
know.
the nomination
This is-
rounds.
Oh,
This is the
this is
nomination
to
round.
nominate us. Okay.
Yes.
Hint, hint.
Hint,
Everybody
hint.
nominate the Groomers Cut.
Yeah, I
Why
wrote
not?
us in. I did. I said that we need to be recognized. I think that we put out a good amount of content for the community.
Yeah.
I think we do a good amount of content every week. We do
Yeah.
a lot of content.
I actually have a new article too in the Groomer to Groomer that just came out. What is this, August? Yeah, we're in August. Don't even ask me who I am at this
Yes.
point.
No, I loved your article, Melissa. It was awesome.
So I'm trying to also get some more of that content out as well. So it's coming,
great.
but I'm just thrilled to be able to have the classes go open up and
Yay, open
and get the
enrollment.
sign up. Yeah, so
Yep.
open enrollment for all those master feline, and that these are all holistic. So holistic master feline, master massage therapist, and pet massage therapist, and master pet aromatherapist.
Yep.
And I definitely want to reiterate Dara's plug if to all of the many people that have listened to us over the last year, please do nominate the Groomers Cut.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or the
For
Big Bro
Barkley Honors.
Educators. Either one of us.
Yeah.
We all work the same.
Yep.
All right. On that note, ladies, we'll see you next week. If somebody else has another question on behavior in the grooming shop that we need to that you have, I did have the list on the Facebook group, but please, if you have another suggestion or a question you want us to go over and answer, send it forward. Groomer Jen, we're holding you to that video.
Yes. And Katie,
Definitely.
we want t-shirts.
I'm going to get right on it.
Yes. All right. So we will see you guys next time. Have a great week.
Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.